Welcome again to another segment here with M&M Gutters and Exteriors. Today we want to highlight the importance of keeping your gutters clean. Now, some of the things that will lead to blockage and clogs in your gutters, oftentimes, of course, we think of the typical things such as leaves, debris, twigs, so forth. Other things that might lead to blockage: tennis balls, baseballs, pine cones, pine needles, even badminton birdies in some rare extreme cases. Additionally, some of the things that most people don't think about is the dust that's up in the air. This will settle on your roof mixed with the grit from your shingles, and then when that gets wet, you're turning that into a mud. Now, typically when we think of blockage in gutters, you're thinking superficially within the gutter itself. But oftentimes when we go out to a customer's house, they'll state, well, we got up there and there's not physically anything in the gutter. And then you look a little bit further, you take apart the downspout where the outlet is, and there you'll find the blockage. Now, in one extreme case, I found up to 12 badminton birdies stuffed down into this outlet where it was not physically able to be seen, and there we found the blockage. Now, some of the negative effects that we can have and that we often see with blocked water flow and getting those clogs in the outlets, of course, that water is going to look for the path of least resistance, and it's going to flow over the side of the gutter, much like you would filling up a bathtub, and it's going to overflow the side. There, you might have extreme cases where that water is overflowing into potentially window wells. Of course, the foundation, we don't want to see that, and we want to avoid getting that water spilling over into entryways, etc. Now, of course, we know the importance of keeping your gutters clean to avoid all of those problems. Now, how does one clean out the gutters? Now, of course, if the gutters are 2-3 stories up high, you're probably going to want to call a professional. Certainly, we can come out and do that. Our rates are very low for doing so. However, if that gutter is low enough where you can reach it yourself, it's a very simple process, and we're going to highlight and show you what we need to look for when cleaning out your gutters. So here we have just a makeshift gutter, but in that we have various types of debris. We have just dirt that is collected over time. We've got larger leaves, we've got smaller leaves. A lot of these leaves have twigs, and you can see here that the water has collected. Now here, probably a good inch or so of water that is just sitting still, not even moving. And if you look down here, this is where the blockage has compounded. All types of debris in here. We've got sticks, we've got leaves, of course, mixed with that mud. And then you can see down as that water, yes, it is draining. However, efficiently, not so. As we remove this debris, you're just going to want to just have a bucket. And as you do so, that's when you're going to open up the floodgates. Now, once the majority of that blockage was removed, you can see how the water really begins to flow. However, looking here at the outlet, something tells me that we have additional blockage. Not in the gutter so much, but down in the downspout. Oftentimes, that's our problem, that we don't physically see the blockage on the top of the gutter. Good chance it might be actually down in the downspout itself. Now, if you don't feel comfortable taking off the downspout, certainly we'll do that for you. However, it's fairly simple. You need to have a 1/4-inch bit, because these are 1/4-inch zip screws. Simply remove the screws and remember where they went, and you're going to put that right back together. I'm removing this section of elbow, and sure enough, you can see you got a fairly large branch that made its way in there. I can also see more debris in the other elbow. I'm going to take that off as well. Shake it out and we're clear. What our installers will do when doing the clean out is they'll actually use a hose to irrigate any remaining debris. And you can see here just fine dirt. There's going to be more dirt, small debris left over. We're just going to, again, irrigate that out through the gutter and down the outlet. We want to make sure that all the obstruction is removed and cleaned out. Fairly inexpensive to get your gutters cleaned out. Again, as we recapped in previous videos, usually the best time to have your gutters cleaned out as we approach the fall, before we go into the winter months. However, it gets really busy. So if you want to call ahead, get that scheduled, be happy to come out, get those gutters cleaned, get them ready for winter.